Welcome to the Sisters in Service podcast. My name is Kat Corchado, also known as the voice connecting women veterans nationwide. This podcast is for anyone connected with the military, from veterans, male and female, military spouses, military brats, even parents who may have children who are in the military. As an Air Force veteran, I understand the trials and triumphs that women veterans go through in service and out of service. And so I wanted to find a way that I could put it out there into the airwaves and let everyone know what we're going through and find a way and a solution to what's happening to us in the service. I also like to highlight these women who are business owners, they're entrepreneurs, they're bosses in their business. And so I hope that you will follow me, you will share, and you will subscribe to this podcast, which comes out every week on Tuesdays. And as always, please stay safe, take care of each other until next time. And it's never too late to start your impossible. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Sisters in Service. And I am speaking with Brandy Lang today. And she's going to talk about her military service. And she's going to talk about her TBI and how she found a way to help herself so that she can help others. So, Brandy, welcome to Sisters in Service.
Thank you so much, Kat. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Of course. And I was so glad to see that you're an Air Force veteran, you know, because there aren't many of us around and people tend to make jokes about the Air Force. But, you know, it's okay. I'm still proud to be an Air Force vet. But why did you pick the Air Force? Or a better question is, did you pick the Air Force or did the Air Force pick you?
You know, it's a very interesting question because it's been a long time. but actually, and I don't mean this any disrespect. I know it's one of those jokes that we typically get. But because of my ASVAB score being so high, the Air Force really came out to get me. I'm always been a student, a good student in school. So getting a good score was always my goal. So I actually took it twice. Not many people do, but I did that so that I could get a higher score. I think I got like a 92 my first try. And so I wanted to get a higher score because of that's just who I am. And, that's when, you know, they were definitely one of the first recruiters. Of course, there's other ones after that, but so that kind of started that off, and I, just went from there. So.
Awesome. You know, it's interesting that you said that because number one, I didn't know you could take it twice. I'm just saying I took it once and I was done. I'm like, thank you. I'm not taking it again.
Right.
But as I was a dependent, so I was a military brat, and in Germany, we used to, for sports, go to different military bases, mostly Army. And you would go from the Air Force base, it was light and bright. And then you would go to the Army base and they were already, everything was brown and green. And you're like, ew. And as a child, you didn't know. You're just like, what is this?
Right.
And then I got older and I went in the Air Force only because my dad was Air Force. And, people would come, depending on where I was stationed, they would, like, oh, we're doing R&R at the Air Force base. I was like, really? Okay. But now it started to make sense in that, So you were.
Funny. I was going to say, I don't mean to interrupt you, but it brought something to my mind. That's very funny you should say that because we used to have like job fairs or whatever at my high school, and there's always a recruiter there, it seems. And so honestly, I'm like, blue looks so much better than these BDUs. So it's ridiculous how they market to you. It really is. But I do have a history. I have a whole family of military, my grandfather on both sides, and my uncles, but they were mostly Army or Navy. So it's kind of funny I didn't follow in those footsteps, but I think the blue really got me versus the BDUs.
Oh, yes. But I think in retrospect, all the other services, I think, have better uniforms than the Air Force. I'm just going to say, especially the dress uniform. The dress uniforms.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Super sharp. The Air Force is, they need to up it a little bit. They need to come out of the dark ages just a tad, just a little bit. Yeah.
It's so funny because when I was on flight crew, I have a pickle suit is what they call it. So it's a flight suit.
Yes.
I mean, there's nothing cute about that. I mean, it's ridiculous, one zip up, one zip down.
I know.
But
easy on, easy off, right?
It is. It's, I know we're talking as two vets, and it's funny for anybody who's a vet who's listening to this. I hope it's okay to say this, but there is the suit actually has a zipper at the bottom and a zipper at the top because of how you go to the bathroom.
Get it? I never knew that.
It's very well designed, and I had to learn certain tricks while I was actually in flight on how to do that. So, yeah.
Wow. Who knew?
It's definitely an advantage to have that zipper.
Right? Wow. You could just, yes.
You can figure things out. It's crazy because there's nothing to hold on to when you're flying. I mean, I got used to it, but
Oh man, those are some stories right there. I'm telling you. So you were a Morse code operator and then a C-130 loadmaster. So that seems kind of night and day, is it?
Oh yes. Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, and it could be, I really don't know why I was chosen for Morse code. But you have to go and you have to get a special compartmental secret clearance for it. So
did you have a TS, SCI, that kind, or SBI?
Yes,
SCI, yeah.
I had one of those, and so it took forever. They lost my paperwork, which is not unusual, military. But so all that and all my people that I knew had to go through it twice. So I'm glad that it actually worked out the way it did because I got to go overseas and do some really wonderful things at the time that I was doing it. So knowing now, I mean, it's interesting because you go through this whole school and it's so funny. Even today, I can hear very high pitched noises and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's code in the bottom of that. It's weird. I can't turn it off.
Oh my gosh.
Most of the kids today will never experience this because you remember TVs and when they used to go off at midnight?
Yes.
And you get the snow and everything.
Yes.
There's code underneath there. It's weird. I was just like, oh my gosh. Let me get a piece of paper. I'm starting to hear that it's not. It's
wow.
So crazy. But you definitely get used to doing that. So it was a great experience, and I loved it. Like I said, I got to go overseas, so that's one of those things you get to do. But and then what happened was my base closed, and then they a whole team from Kelly Air Force Base came in to take a look at all of us and cross train us and give us new stations. And I came up and they said, these are the jobs that you could qualify for. And one of them was a loadmaster. And I was like, well, I want to do that. By that time, I'd already been lifting weights. I had already been one of the only women in the whole gym. And that's one thing about the Air Force. We have the best gyms, I think.
Yes.
We really do.
We really do.
Say. So I'm very fortunate for that. But I really started lifting and doing all this good stuff and learning how to do all of those things. And Kelly Air Force Base, this guy came in and he's like, well, you have to lift 50 pounds over your head.
You're like, yeah, whatever. Let me bench press you,
I do
bro.
That every day. Okay, whatever. And he looked at me because I'm so short. And these two other guys that were huge that I actually lifted with, they were like, oh, yeah, you're going to, that's easy for you. I'm just going to put you down. And he kept asking me, I'm like, yes, can you please put me down for this? So he finally did. And it's kind of interesting because the other two guys didn't make it through all the qualifications. And I'm the one that got to go to school.
Wait, they couldn't do the 50 pounds?
They had other things.
I was going to say. Yeah.
An eye color, it's kind of thing. And then I guess somebody else just didn't make it for other reasons.
Wow.
But that was kind of interesting. The one person we thought couldn't do it, but yeah. And that in itself is just amazing. I mean, it's so funny because there's so much involved in being a loadmaster, everything from the mathematics to just the rigging and knowing everything and not knowing, whatever drop or cargo you're having to carry. I loved doing the personnel drops. Because that's when I really got to see the Army most of the time.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, seeing the ones that were very experienced and the ones that were newbies. Oh my gosh, just to look at the look on their face And
Fear
my
and
thing,
terror.
fear and terror. And, you have to you have to really be attention to detail because there's a lot of safety issues on a
Yes,
plane.
I
So
bet.
when I was ready to, open the door and get him out of my plane, basically, my thing ahead of time, luckily, the thing that I would kind of educate the jump master and safeties on is you have to take your barf bags with you. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, seriously, man, everybody gets one and most of them will use it if they're new. And I'm like, you're taking that out my plane with
Yeah,
you. So
right? Yeah, I'm not
yeah,
touching it. I'm not
yeah,
touching it.
exactly. So
Yeah.
luckily everybody that I worked with was fantastic. I
Mhm.
mean, all the jump masters and safeties, I
Mhm.
mean, they scare their own people, but they were very,
Mhm.
very respectful to me. So I always loved that.
So let's move on for just a second. I want to talk about the fact that you suffered a TBI, traumatic brain injury, while you were active duty.
Yes.
Give us a little background on that, if you could, about how it happened and what were some of the effects of, like, what did you experience having that TBI?
Yeah, it was, a new thing for me because I've always been like I guess a tomboy anyway. So I'm kind of surprised it just happened then. But we were on a training exercise. It was, we had to do an obstacle course. It's part of your graduation, I guess, and different things that you do to get out of basic. And we were doing that and long day, everybody's wet, everybody's muddy, everybody's tired, and you just keep going, right? And we were almost to the end, and we had to do this maneuver where you're grabbing onto a rope upside down, and you got your legs across it and your arms across it, and you're shimmying across the length of basically Olympic size swimming pool. And you can only have 4 people on the rope at a time for safety reasons, obviously. Well, at the end is a platform that you jump off or you step off of. And so the first person at the end, I was kind of I was at one end ready to be the last person. So the person that should have been getting off was too scared or something. I don't know what happened. And so they just stayed there forever. All of us were just hanging on this line forever. And finally, the person right behind me decided to get on, and that was 5. So that person, then we started moving. But by the time I'd gotten to the edge, the person in front of me lost their grip or something. And so when they came off, their feet came off, kicked my arms loose from the rope,
Oh,
which
no.
I couldn't hold on to. And on my
Right.
way down, because I was to the edge, I hit my head on the platform for the edge of the pool. So I basically went like a sack of potatoes to the bottom of that pool. But I still to this day remember being at the bottom of a pool, and you know how everything's distorted when you open your eyes underwater. I opened my eyes, but I didn't know what happened. Like I literally had no movement. I was stuck in time. I was just confused. And luckily, I guess there's primitive, and I know now from my experience and my education, there's a primitive reflex that basically, as long as you do have oxygen in your body still, you're not going to take a breath, right? So luckily I didn't just like drown. Like there were safeties anyway, but I just was there, and I heard them trying to talk to me, and it was all muffled underwater, but I didn't know they were talking to me. I didn't know what was going on. And they were basically telling me afterwards, they were screaming for me to swim up to the top. Like, hello, you need to get up. You need to get to the top. And I was awake, but I just could not understand anything. I couldn't even move. So they had to dive in and get me. And it's something you could stand up in. It was not, 10 feet of water or anything. It was just a pool that was maybe 4 feet deep or something.
Right.
So I don't really know, but yeah, so they had to have 2 safeties come in and get me and walk me to the edge and get me out of the pool. And even then, like, of course, I have this drill instructor yelling at me, right? Or actually a TI. Ours are different, but same thing. Somebody yelling at me, what are you doing? This is ridiculous. Get back to formation and just keep going. And I finished. But afterwards, I really had a hard time doing everything else in training. Like I was confused. I couldn't get up. I wanted to sleep all the time. I was slow in everything that I was doing, like even tying my shoes and going to take showers, which of course is like what, 2 or 3 minutes. you can't really be slowing that. But the biggest thing that I knew was a problem is every single morning you get up in formation, you start running. And I literally fell off of the path like several times because I was like blacking out. Like I was not completely losing my consciousness to where I did black out, but it was just that immediate like whoosh of brain fog, whatever, that just was so heavy on me. I just couldn't control what was going on. And I would just like shake my head to try to wake up and try to continue running. And of course they just continue yelling at me. And I'm like, I had to go to my TI, and tell her, I was like, something's wrong. I was like, I'm sorry, obviously you're going to yell at me again, but I don't know what's wrong. I can't run. I can't sleep. I can't wake up. I can't eat. I can't do any of this. Like something's wrong. I don't know what it is. So,
but that's frightening.
It is.
You know what
it
really
is?
It's you're scared because you want to do it. You're scared that they're going to yell at you. You're scared that you're going to black out. You don't know what's going on, so you're scared of that. I mean, it's just this whole fear that's gripped you. So how long?
I didn't want to disappoint anybody.
Of course not. How long did it take for you to say, I need to go find out what's going on?
It was probably about 3 or 4 days because, you're afraid. Let's be honest. You're afraid to say anything to your TIs. It's like, okay, I am not going to get my shoes out of alignment. I'm not gonna, I'm going to stand there in the best possible formation I can and you not bobble and not run as best as everybody else. You just do what they tell you to do,
right?
Because that's what you're trained to do. That's the purpose of basic is really making you the model that they want. I mean, it is, So I was just too afraid to do it, and it got so bad that I'm like, I'm really going to get in trouble for this. Like something's either it's going to get worse, and then I will completely black out and hurt myself. Because somebody had actually fallen and they'd like hurt their ankle or something. And I didn't want that to be the case. I wanted to finish my training and go to my job, go to my AFSC. So, it was, granted, I turned 18 in basic training because I went in and
you were a baby. Oh my goodness.
I was a baby. Yeah, man. I went to the bathroom in the middle of the night and sang happy birthday to myself. Woo! Birthday party for Brandy. But that's what you do. So
can I just say, when you mentioned the obstacle course, I was like, there was an obstacle course in basic training? I must have blacked it out. I must have just
I mean, seriously, what it's just like one more thing you do, right?
I'm like, wait, obstacle course? What is she talking about?
I know. And I'm like, I hope it's going to do it because things have gotten a lot more, different. I'd say watered down, obviously, even from the Air Force standards.
So you get your diagnosis of TBI. How does that affect you?
Well, one of the things that really led me on my path anyway is that when I went to see the doctor on base, they knew what it was. And at that time, it was called a closed head trauma. That's the classification that they used. And that basically means it's mild versus moderate or severe. Moderate or severe basically means there's a structural damage, because then it's called an open head trauma.
Ugh, so I don't even want to know if that's a mild, I don't even want to know what a severe is.
Yeah. And I've worked with those folks before. So it is very devastating, but that may be something I'll eventually work into, but right now I'm not doing it. So that's basically what he did. And he said, well, you need rest. We're going to take you out of training. We're going to put you in what's called casual, which is the medical side of just, getting cleared to go back to training. You go to, a totally different barracks where there's no training. There's none of that. There are a lot of different medical issues that are there. Somebody could sprain their ankle. Somebody could, a lot of things can happen. So they're just medically putting you somewhere until you can be cleared to go back to training.
Right.
And I was just told to rest. Like there wasn't anything. It was kind of interesting. And granted, this is the Air Force, But it's like, I didn't have to wear a cover, my hat. I didn't have to walk into formation. I could eat all the ice cream I wanted.
You're
I got
like,
to
this
eat
is
on that
great,
stuff.
man. I
I know,
recommend this
right?
to everybody.
I'm like, training. Do I want to go back to training? No, but yeah, that's everything. But yeah, I really did want to go back. But at that time, they put you out for 4 weeks for a TBI. And there's some evidence today that 60 days is good, but I don't think I know at that time it wasn't research oriented, just because I know the dates of the research that's current. And it wasn't really researched back then. It was just kind of like, 4 weeks sounds good. And a lot of the things lifestyle things that I was allowed to do is actually not supported by research these days. So the reason why, I say the VA really didn't know at the time what I needed to do to recover. A lot of times, if you even today go to your PCP or a VA doctor, they're going to say you need rest, relaxation, be in the dark, don't have this, don't have that. And none of that is supported by research. It's actually the wrong protocol straight out the gate. So I try to educate people on that a lot, and that's what I do. But so basically it was 4 weeks and I went back to training, just okay. And I had to do the obstacle course again. I was like, oh
No.
my goodness. I was like, of all things, I had to do my run again. I had to do everything. And I literally had to go to another group. I had to go to another flight. And because obviously they're 4 weeks ahead and already gone.
Right.
So I had to go in and have a new TI. And, they already think I suck because I was in, medical. Like, oh, you're a loser. I'm like, no, I really want to get out of here.
I'm hurt. I really am.
But yeah, and I had to do if you've ever, done training in Texas, they say, of course they do all the time, but you're not supposed to do any physical activity in black flag weather, which is like over 100 degrees.
Yes.
Huge. Oh yeah, no, I did that in black flag weather. It's like,
because I didn't have but the flags, look at the flag.
Right? No, I can't breathe.
Get on the obstacle course now.
Exactly. I had to run and do that in black flag weather. But, but that's okay. I think it's because I really didn't have a lot of time left in my total time there. So, I was wasting money. I know what the reason was. I was like, I'm spending too much money being there. So, but I really, I'm so glad because how duty stations are. If you don't get there in time, then you don't get the slot. And the rest of my career was made the way it was because I was able to do that. But yeah, it was kind of like, really? Do I have to do?
Let me ask you this question. So they told you to rest.
Yeah.
What's the difference then compared to now? Is medication prescribed, or is rest still the protocol, or have they added something such as, I don't know, maybe doing things that are gentler on your body? What kind of protocols are in place right now?
Actually, none of those are research-based. Okay, so
why not?
Well, not to confuse or turn this into, Science 101 type of thing. I'll try to kind of keep it simple because I can really go down a rabbit hole with this. But what happens immediately when you have a mild TBI, a concussion, is you have these situations that happen chemically. Okay, so everybody knows from biology what mitochondria are. Those are the cells in your body that make ATP, which is your energy.
Yes.
So we know that food is energy. However, so diet has to be one of the first things that you do. So the VA does not really know. I mean, I say that because I've looked on their websites recently. I've looked at all this kind of stuff. You need to have somebody specifically give you something that's going to be anti-inflammatory and are going to also boost certain vitamins and minerals that you need that are specific to what's happening from the brain and the gut. And that's not just throw something at the wall, multivitamin type of thing, or here, let's go ahead and eat this because it, has B vitamins or whatever, because energy does that. That is not what you need to be doing. So the one of the things that helps you, there's also cerebral blood flow issues.
Yes.
So you have a gut issue that happens when your gut becomes permeable. So that means the junctions on the cells become open, and they're open to any and every toxin, which is environmental, food-based, extracurricular activity-based.
Everything.
Anything, especially pharmaceuticals. There's actually no evidence. It's already been it's actually been evidence supported that pharmaceuticals are not helpful in recovering from a TBI. So, and I understand from being in the healthcare field that from some people's viewpoints, that the only thing they know what to do is to prescribe a medication for a symptom you're telling them you have. However, for most of those health professionals that actually don't have the education that I do and really research why you're having your symptoms, where it's coming from, it's not the best course of action because it doesn't do any good. And what it does is it causes more toxicity and more side effects.
That does make sense when you say it like that.
Yeah, exactly. So you really have to take you have to take the cerebral blood flow. So rest is not good for that. In fact, I actually do tests on people that look at what their sub threshold, which means their symptoms, at what threshold they can do physical activity before their symptoms actually happen. And then I develop a program to get them in that space to where they're no longer having symptoms, and then I can ramp them up as appropriately. So you do need to have somebody who knows how to do that. So there's a lot of pieces. I hope I said everything that's like the immediate thing. And that happens within 7 days, like 3 to 7 days.
Well, I know people listening are going, okay, how did we go from her being a C-130 to, okay, so right? First off, explain why you know all this. Like explain what you do. I hope you are enjoying part 1 of our interview with Brandy Lang, and I hope you will stay tuned next week where you will find out how Brandy rehabilitated herself from 5 concussions and why her mission is to provide the most comprehensive, immersive virtual rehab program for the brain and body for veterans, non-veterans, and first responders. As always, please stay safe, take care of each other until next time, and it's never too late to start your impossible.